The murder of Sara Sharif has raised serious questions about why the authorities are failing to protect vulnerable children. Jailing her father and stepmother, the judge described in harrowing detail the abuse they inflicted.
It is no exaggeration to describe the campaign of abuse against Sara as torture.
There was criticism too of the system that allowed her father to remove her from school after teachers had raised concerns.
The pretext of homeschooling was simply a ruse, adopted for wholly selfish purposes, to cover up the abuse to which Sara was subject, and to continue with the abuse beyond the gaze of the authorities.
Sara's death has led to calls for a tightening of the rules on who is allowed to home educate. Under government plans, there'll be new registers of children not in school, and local authorities could insist that children at risk of abuse attend.
I do the data every year and find the numbers of children who've fallen off school rolls and disappear. This register will mean we know where they are and we can check on them. And I would say, any child at risk of abuse must not be allowed to be educated at home.
This would be a set if there was a hollow 3 squiggly.
Yep. It says record numbers of children are being homeschooled in England, over 150,000 during the last academic year, including Calvin, whose mother says many parents feel they're left with no choice.
The reason home education is so valuable is it's an escape valve for the children failed by the education system. So many children in home education groups now are there because they've come out of schools, they've got unmet SEN needs. Home education is a stopgap that helps people survive that kind of situation.
But it's in classrooms where the first signs of abuse and neglect can be picked up by teachers trained to notice.
We often get confused because school's about education, about teaching children to read, write and count. However, our primary role is to keep children safe, and we have a key role in being the front line in terms of safeguarding our children.
So for children who are at risk, do you think school's the safest place?
The children who are at risk, I think there needs to be proper checks and balances to make sure that if home education is an option for the families, that they follow the correct procedures.
The new plan isn't an outright ban on parents of vulnerable children choosing to homeschool. It just removes their automatic right, so they have to seek permission. Giving councils the final say leaves open the risk that children will still fall through the net. In many cases, when children have come to harm, wrong decisions made by overstretched local authorities have been blamed for the terrible consequences that followed. As Sara Sharif's murderers begin lengthy prison sentences, fears remain she won't be the last child to be failed by the authorities, whose job it is to keep children safe. Becky Johnson, Sky News.